Is this thing on? Is anyone here? Am I talking into outer space? Am I talking into a world that doesn't exist yet? It's most certainly is on, and I am more than hyped for today's live stream. I thank you all of you that are here early. I hope we can all help out and share the link around and on and with our friends and other people that might be interested, because today is all about you all. It's about your confessions, your experiences, what you wish you knew when you were a kid growing up about yourself, what you tried to be that didn't work out for you, the decisions you made that didn't match with who you were and what you needed in life to be happy. Because I realized when I started studying the personality types that we all have a flow type. It represents who we are at our best when we are ourselves. We have a flow style, a unique way of expressing ourselves when we have energy, when we are happy, when we are in a good frame of mind. But as all of us know, we're not always in a good frame of mind, and we are taught to be so much by school, by friends, by family, by society and everyone around us. We should be we should be extroverted, we should be outgoing, we should be all these things, all these ideas, and not all of them fit us personally. I was listening to Nietzsche earlier, and while he is sometimes known for saying that we should have no ethics, or misunderstood for saying this, what he usually said was we should find our own personal ethics, our own personal code. And when we talk about what we want in life, ourselves, what we need to be happy, we need to be clear with the people around us that what I need to be happy is not necessarily what you need to be happy. Yet, as all of this is happening, like there are articles all over the internet that say 10 steps to become happier, 10 things to do to become more fulfilled in life, 20 tips to become more proactive and to get out there and to do more. Go to the self-help section of a library and realize how offensive half of those titles are, just because of their assumptions about you, the assumptions about the ideal human. Like some people walk around with this belief about the ideal human, the person that is always happy, always outgoing, talkative, and socially competent, always dresses appropriately, always looks and talks perfectly. We have this idea within us. We have advertisements, we have everything everywhere around us, creating this idea of the perfect human being. And if we all were like this, we would all be the same. And society would most likely collapse. And society would not be able to handle everyone being like this. Value of people that come from this Jungian tradition, as all of us here in the chat room most likely do, is seeing the value of the different types, seeing the different gifts that we all contribute to the world, seeing and acknowledging other people for the strengths that they have that you don't have, and realizing that while I can technically become good at anything, and while I might be able to follow these books and follow this advice will not make me happy. Yeah, the Ubermensch. The ideal human, according to Nietzsche, was a person that followed their own sense of ethics and trusted in themselves, and that was the person that was not controlled by the dogmas of religion and society around them. But it's difficult experience. And like I said, this video is out there to talk about the brutal honesty, like things I would have given, the advice I would have given myself growing up, the advice I would give different personality types on things not to do, mistakes to avoid, things to think twice about. And I began making a list of things that I want to share, but I also want this to be about your sharing. So I'm going to walk through and begin, and you can always fill in and write in your confessions. And if you share anything, I will discuss it with all of you and share it with the rest of us here. I'll start with Fairy of Something. Fairy of Something wants to give the advice to INFJs and to herself that the whole social system has its rules to teach people morals, what is supposed to be good and bad and all that jazz. But what every one of us has inside us, what we are born with, is a voice that is leading us in the right direction, mostly the one we want to help other people in one way or another. Anyway, what we have inside us already includes everything the system can teach us and so much more. That's why we don't have to adapt ourselves so much to this, but to try to find our own way of solving problems and living our life. In that way, we can be the greatest version of ourselves, system in our individual way. That's an amazing insight. And I think that's an insight that a lot of introverts and feeling types will relate to. I think as an introvert and a feeling type, you will want to know that you can find the answer to any question by looking inside yourself. You can find the answers to all kinds of problems in nature, in the world, in science, in who we are and what we need, just by through sheer introspection. If you listen to yourself and if you take the time to introspect, you will find that you can find the truth to pretty much anything. This is actually not a DVD collection, or well, oh, there are some DVDs here actually. Yeah. All introspection must be informed by observations of the external world. I don't think that's true. I think that nature has pre-programmed a sense of truth into ourselves. I think that we already have the ability to find out answers to a lot of questions simply by asking ourselves questions and listening to ourselves. Because, well, first, of course, all introspections are informed by observations of the external world. Things that you have seen, things that have happened, but also possibly the collective unconscious, if you want to believe in that, or at least the archetypes and the images and the people you read about and the books you read, like read about or meet becomes a person that lives inside your head, and your idea of that person can be used to make and to reason about all kinds of things about the world. You can put together people inside your head and have them have discussions with one another. And you can use what they say to learn about things. Like, the mind already has a lot of resources to solve problems. You don't necessarily need to look to the external world to find truth. I also want to say, I think a lot of introverts and feeling types, of course, they have a sensitive nature. And I think a lot of IFs don't realize they have this sensitive nature and they don't respect it in themselves. So a lot of IFs pretend to be tougher than they are, stronger than they are, and happier, even when they're not. And it's like you can kind of fake the emotional endurance of an ESTP as an INFJ. Put on this ESTP front, in a sense, where you seem like nothing bothers you and like you're doing okay and like everything is okay, even when it's not. So try not to do that. Try not to hide your pain and suffering from yourself and others. Because if you do, you won't necessarily be able to find happiness. Ryan F asks, how do I know if I'm an ESFP or ESTP? And if we're being brutally honest here, ESFPs are more interpersonal. ESFPs see character in people. They see that person is nice, that person is stupid, that person is kind, that person is nice to be around. I don't like that person, I like that person. ESFPs are constantly rating everyone they meet. Good or bad, nice or rude. ESTPs don't give a crap. ESTPs rate people purely by performance. Is that person reliable? Is that person trustworthy? Is that person to be counted on? Is that how strong is that person? How smart are they? How good are they? How capable are they? Stan Olson asks, how do I know if I really am an INTJ or just an introverted ENTJ? Wow, did this turn into suddenly, how do I know if I am that type or that type? INTJ, and this is actually a little similar to the ESTP. Okay, the ENTJ and the ESTP share that trait that I talked about just now. The ESTJ and the ENTJ is judge of your ability. How strong are you? How tough are you? An INTJ is a judge of skill. And what I mean here is that an INTJ looks at how to solve problems better. An INTJ is good at seeing flaws in what you do, in how you reason, in how you think. An INTJ can say how to improve at the task, how to do something better, how to sing better, how to do better, how to act better. They can give you very specific advice on how to improve and how to do something better. Tell you when you're doing a good or a bad job, but they can't necessarily tell you how to improve at the task. They can only tell you when something is done badly and when it's done good. So INTJs will definitely work better as teachers in that regard because of that ability to say how you can improve, to share and give advice on how you can become more efficient in things. 9 NI in one word. And for all of you who don't know Neo-Jungian typology, I differentiate between NI, which is known in the Myers-Briggs universe, which is intuition and judging, the ability to predict, the ability to organize your thoughts, the ability to focus your mind, to exercise mental discipline in your thinking, in intellectual pursuits, in reasoning. That is intuition and judging. INFJ has that, and INTJ has that. But the NI that Carl Jung talked about, introversion and intuition, is something INFPs and INTPs are also going to be very good at. So there is one NI that can be described in one word, speculation. That is intuition and judging. That's what ENTJs and INFJs are good at. And there is one NI that INTPs and INFJs are good at, and that is the introverted intuition of philosophy, philosophical reasoning. Epic Dark Ray, the description of the ESTPs and ESFPs, this was the difference between someone who is an extrovert and a thinking type compared to someone who was an extrovert and a feeling type. So actually ESTJs and ESTPs are quite similar in how I describe them. And ESFPs and ESFJs will be quite similar in the way I describe them. So that's not necessarily related to those Myers-Briggs cognitive functions. I like to use my ESTP shadow to put on a small show to entertain other people, to use it in an artistic way. It's hard to know how you mean, because when you're acting, you're typically exercising your intuition. Intuition is an acting function, especially intuition and judging and intuition and perceiving. So when you're kind of act and going into a role and imagining yourself in a different identity and doing something, you're not necessarily being an ESTP to do that. But if you're putting on an ESTP thing, what you're doing is you're trying to act tough. You're trying to maintain like a sense of toughness in yourself. You're trying to be tactical and to play with the system and to play with the rule book. You're trying to be louder and noisier and to take more space and to be more exaggerated than you normally want to be and like to be. More rushed and quick and fast-paced than what is good for you. The brutal honesty on intuition and judging. The problem with intuitive and judging types is they get rushed really easily. And I've seen this in so many movie characters, so many intuitive and judging types. Like they begin to try to rush their way to the final destination. And NJ is a wandering function. And NJ is a function that is wandering towards an unknown destination. Now, an NJ might be asked, where are you headed? Where are you going? What is your end goal? But an NJ can't answer what their end goal is, and they should not try to. But sometimes they think they must, and they think they are supposed to, when they're not. And they begin to try to rush an explanation. They might try to share their reasoning and where they are headed before they actually know where they're headed. And basically, as an intuitive and judging type, what you want to do is simply resign yourself to that destination, towards that journey, and to the lessons you are going to learn as you move towards it. If you find out the answer early on, you spoil the journey for yourself and the chance to learn. And typically, when an NJ knows the end destination, they become less motivated to complete the journey. So the best way to complete the journey is to keep it to yourself, to assign yourself to not knowing, and to follow and to trust in your intuition, and to know, because I've noticed that NJs are the most lucky personality types of all personality types. NJs can somehow know things nobody else can know. NJs can somehow survive and do things that nobody else would be able to survive doing. Somehow NJs are able to intuitively calculate where they are headed and where they will end up. And NJs need to trust in that they are lucky. I think that's very important. You need to be brave, and you need to trust in that luck that you have. Trust in the ability for yourself to calculate, to figure out, and to survive, and to find that end destination. Because if anyone is able to be lucky, it's you. Welcome, Bethany Lowe, and everyone say hey to Bethany. Bethany has been an amazing part, along with Mike, in helping me develop New Jungian typology. I'll also give her moderator status. INFJs and INTPs are making a very good couple, but what are your thoughts on that? Can you confirm, or would you disagree? I think they are a very rare couple. I have not seen a lot of INFJ and INTP relationships. I've heard the golden pair theory. I think that INFJs and INTPs are great sidekicks to one another. I think that they can kind of help each other and boost each other in areas where the other one is lacking. And I think they can be very fun to be around and good comic relief for one another. But I don't necessarily see INTP's ideal role for a relationship. But I'm sure if you can make it work with any relationship if you want to, and if you really love the person. Yeah, Dustin, reasonable or correct to understand that XX NJs want to have the big picture goal first, as to then construct the best approach to accomplishing the vision or goal. They start out with a very, very basic vision. Like, I want to go in this direction, or I'm searching for something, or I need something, or there's something I'm looking for. NJ, you have this mental discipline. You have this, your thoughts are leading somewhere, and you know they're leading somewhere, and they are very focused and they're very keen towards a destination. So you know where you need to go, but you don't really know where you're going. That's the thing about NJ. Thank you, Dustin, and welcome to the stream, and glad you appreciate it. ENFJs are supposed to go well together with INFP or ISFP. Why do you think this is? Or do you think there's a more compatible type for ENFJ? I want to say to all of you here now, like, once again, like what I want this stream to be, and feel free to disagree with me here and to come out and track and go into other directions if you want to. That's completely fine by me. Is to share also experiences and the things you've done in your life that have done. To talk about things you've done in life that you thought you had to do, that you didn't actually have to do. And I'm gonna try to get back to that for a bit by sharing something that I shouldn't have done and that I thought I had to do growing up. I think a lot of the time, and I think a lot of INFJs get into this trap. I've had a tendency of kind of enabling bad people, and I've seen a lot in INFJ movie characters that they're often known for like being the person to empathize with a psychopath or with a sociopath. I think a lot of us can, because sociopaths are naturally manipulative and good at getting everyone along with them. And me personally, what I've done is I've played along far too often with other people's games. When other people have played games with me, I've spent far too long trying to analyze the game and to try to figure out a loophole or a way to use that game to survive. And eventually, at some point, I realized that people were setting up games for me to fail at. They were coming up with like these scenarios and these yes or no questions, and with these like they were forcing me to choose a side that I didn't want to choose. They were often forcing me to corner myself or to shut myself down, and they kept me always like in diagnosis mode, from sharing my personal opinion on justice and what was right and wrong. I saw them do bad things to other people. I saw them act and do things, and I tried to reason with them, and they played games with me in return. And instead of them saying, no, this is not right, you shouldn't do that, I tried to reason with them. I tried to I went along with their scenario. Yeah, being too forgiving and not trying to get back to people for doing bad things. An advice I thought about when I was thinking about INTPs, especially when it comes to feeling judging, is you don't have to play fair when other people don't play fair. If you notice that other people are breaking the rules and not following the game, feel free to ignore the idea of fairness for a bit and to show them that it's not okay. Use your thinking and perceiving instead of your feeling judging to try to come up with a tactic or a strategy to intercept whatever they might try to do, even if they cheat. An ENFP in the grip. And there are so many grips here to talk about for the ENFP. I wrote up some things that I thought about. First, I would say ENFPs, routines, diets, and ways to control yourself and your behavior will typically not work. Routines may appear to work short term, but usually I've noticed with ENFPs and INFPs and NPs alike, there's always a kickback. And the kickback is usually worse than the end, like than when you started. So what you want to do if you're trying to change your behavior or to do something new or to lose weight or to do something that you're not currently doing or to improve in something, use your creativity instead of your self-discipline. Realize that self-discipline is a limited resource. Nobody can be self-disciplined forever. Eventually, it's going to run out. And what you want to look for is a creative way to lose weight, to do something, to come up and to deal with the situation without having to rely on self-discipline, which is a limited resource. What do you hate about ENFPs? Don't hold back on them. They need to know. There's nothing I hate about ENFPs. There is nothing wrong inherently with an ENFP. There is nothing wrong with any personality type. And we should be very clear on that when we talk brutal honesty. The things you've seen ENFPs do, INFPs do, and so on, is related to how they are when unhealthy, how they are when they are under stress, when they are afraid, when they are trying to be something they're not. That's the biggest thing. So when I can say and call out bad things in ENFPs, it's things that an ENFP can learn, outgrow. It's something they can grow past while remaining an ENFP. So something I want to do, I do want to say some bad things about ENFPs. I think ENFPs tend to compare things too much to the past at times. They compare people they meet to past relationships. They look back, they become nostalgic about things that were but are no more. They keep on looking back all the time. And that really keeps them from jumping at new opportunities. And beyond that, ENFPs can be perfectionistic in relationships and with people. And with themselves. I think ENFPs and ENFJs, they all have a tendency to become too perfectionistic with other people, to expect perfection when they should be expecting goodness. A person doesn't always have to be good, but they have to be good. That's the important thing to learn. Martin says, ENFPs have tendencies for false premises built on looking for answers and that they will grab from any built from FI and self-absorption. ENFPs sometimes, I've noticed, have a tendency to hear what they want to hear. Sometimes I notice that they're not actually listening to me so much as they're listening to what they imagine me saying or what they want to hear me say. And they are dreamers, of course. And I think if I would have a fault as an INFJ, it's that I don't listen at all. It's that I'm very bad at listening, that I stop listening, tune out very easily. So they kind of fear the wrong things where I kind of fear nothing at all. And I'm not sure what's worse. ENFJ here, feeling bad about TI. Rebecca, okay. Oh, by the way, zombies ruin everything. I've seen your stuff. They're awesome. Welcome here. Okay, Rebecca. ENFJs. First, I think recognize TI's limitations in you. You don't need to be as good at TI as an INTP, and you should not have to feel bad for yourself or for not being good at it. You don't have to be good at it. Your feeling and judging can do pretty much anything thinking and perceiving can do. Other approach, and it needs to respect its unique values and its unique approach. And ENFJ should try to be in an environment that allows them mental discipline, that enables their judging function and their feeling function. people first. That's how you can use thinking as good as possible, because if you can access your dominant function, the rest of you will follow along with it. So that's where you should start off. When you use thinking and introversion, the reason ENFJs struggle with thinking and introversion is because they tend to use it linearly or one-dimensionally, where an INTP will use it four-dimensionally or at its highest level. So an ENFJ will use thinking and perceiving very submissively, generally, and generally only to rationalize and to explain answers to questions that have already been answered. They will use it to diagnose situations that have already been diagnosed, that have already been solved. They use thinking and perceiving dominantly or aggressively to assert themselves and to push things forward or to things happen. And that's the reason their introversion and thinking is not that good. So if you want to make good choices in life and to come forward and to take steps towards your dreams and your goals, then you want to use feeling and judging. If you want to and to push the brakes and calm down and take a second to look at things and to find out the truth and to answer some questions about life, then you want to push the brakes on with thinking and perceiving. And also a secret strategy for feeling and judging types. Look at how other people do things and imagine you were them. If you were in their shoes, if I was that brilliant scientist, how would I do things? That's how you can kind of mimic and mirror thinking and perceiving without actually using thinking and perceiving, because you're not thinking logically. You're imagining yourself as a person who thinks logically, and then you're using autobiographic reasoning, social reasoning, feeling to use their reasoning for you. An ISFP asks, I identify so many flaws in me, and I'm so overwhelmed with emotions that I really don't know how to channel them appropriately and to rid myself of this load. ... Yes, I do. I don't know. I don't know where that was going. Do you have any tips for that, ISFP? Okay. I will say I actually relate to that. Hey, Gish girl, welcome. Now we're having almost more moderators here than we have viewers. So you need to get some regulars in here as well. Sweetbrats. I actually relate to that a lot. I am overly self-critical of myself. And what I can recommend your ISFP friends is to look into Enneagram 5. Enneagram 5 is the most common to get stuck in this over self-analysis where they keep on kind of looking at their flaws and everything wrong with them and like trying to study themselves, to learn about themselves, because fives tend to see themselves as inherently weaker and worse than other people. Think that if I just identify my flaws, I'll be able to outgrow them. You don't. That's the thing. You don't need to be so hard on yourself, and it won't help attach to being self-critical. Being self-critical won't solve your problems, and it won't get you forward. It only helps you to some extent to be aware of your flaws. But if you become fixated on these flaws and attached to them, then you won't be able to get rid of them because you're attached to them. So it's about getting rid of that attachment. Yes, I announced this stream yesterday because my girlfriend is out for a barbecue, and it's Midsummer Eve in Sweden, actually. So I'm spending my Midsummer Eve with all of you. And that's really amazing. You guys are so much fun. Bethany says it's genius that ENFJs do that. Is there a T way of doing that? There are other ways. Like what you want to do is you want to find a way to use thinking to do what a feeler does. That's how you kind of cheat your own system in a way and overcome your inherent lack of feeling limitations. Find rules, find systems, find strategies using your dominant functions, your flow functions to move forward in life. Can NI DOMs be nostalgic even though they don't have SI? Now, the Enneagram type, the most prone to being nostalgic is the 4. It's not just ENFPs or ENTPs that can be nostalgic. I think a lot of people who don't trust their own heart and what they want, nostalgic because they don't trust fully the future, the possible, what's going to happen, new relationships, projects, ideas, jobs, and careers. They don't necessarily trust themselves to jump at a new opportunity. So nostalgia becomes kind of this weapon that Enneagram 4 types use to guard themselves from being heartbroken or from making a bad decision. Nostalgia is kind of when you, instead of trusting your future and what can happen in the future, you begin to trust what you used to want, what you used to pursue, what you used to believe in. And here's as an INFJ. I thought that I was meant to be in politics. I was so attached to being a politician. And I knew at some point that it became unbearable for me because it was so overwhelming, so stressful, and such a difficult environment for me. But still, I spent more than 2-3 years wanting to get back and to idealizing and romanticizing that past and to follow that idea. Even though I was already pulled to start doing this, I already was dreaming about this, you guys. And if I hadn't been so nostalgic, I would probably have started the channel like 3 or 4 years ago. I would have been starting writing. I would have done so much shit at this point. Already felt the call from my heart. I already felt what I wanted. So get rid of your 4 attachment to what you used to want. Just because you used to want it doesn't mean you currently want it. Get in tune with what you actually want right now. I don't know how long I've been on right now. How long have I been on? Am I still here? My God, by the way, you're 36 people here. I don't think we've ever been so many in here. That's amazing. Okay. I'm going to give you all a sneak preview of something, and then I'm going to start rounding the stream off. I came to a realization a while ago. Amazing realization. I realized that your Enneagram type had nothing to do with your personality type. Not in the sense that if you were an INTP, you were going to be this Enneagram type. But the Enneagram had something to do with how you had developed within your personality type. I began to realize that the subtypes that I was talking about, the red, yellow, green, and blue subtypes, all had different Enneagrams. The yellows, such as myself, were often inclined to being 9s and also 2s. The reds are often inclined to being Enneagram type 6. The green types are often going to have a strong social instinct, and the blue types are going to be often seeking approval and appreciation and to be admired by others, like the Enneagram trees. That is like such a big mind blow for me, because that is the next dimension for me. I have been talking about how INFJs that are in an INTP state of mind to suffer from indecisiveness and from lack of conscientiousness, a sense that they don't care about the decisions they make, and a sense of lack of control in their life. An INFJ in the INTP state will say that they are struggling to make decisions and to follow their goals and ambitions and to make their dream life happen. But it was deeper than that. It was not just that they had this feeling, but it was also that they had an attachment to having this feeling and to feeling like this. And it was also that they had a trauma or an experience, a persona that they were trying to live up to that made them be like this. There was something positive in each Enneagram type. Each Enneagram type has something they're trying to accomplish, some ideal dream that they are looking for. And that ideal dream has, I think, to do with like wanting to be brave for the red types, wanting to be knowledgeable and to become smarter like the blue types, or wanting to discover something new or to find out a secret or a truth about the world like the yellow types. All of them had like one positive state that they desired. And then they had something negative that they thought they needed to live by and to follow in order to achieve this. The yellow type thinks that they have to be Enneagram 9s. They think that they have to be diplomatic, that they have to always agree with other people and to always adapt and to adjust to what other people ask of them, to be the mediators, the peacemakers. They think that this will help them on the search for truth. They are so open and so peaceful that they assume that they can compromise and adjust to anything, and at the expense of their own personal opinions and decisions and what they want for themselves. They think that doesn't matter. Like at some point I was so stuck in the yellow 9 trait that made no decisions at all in my life. I became so lazy and apathic that that they kind of punctured their life. They thought that I'm okay with anything, I'm okay with any situation, no matter what happens, so I don't need to do anything. Each subtype. And okay, for all of you new here, I have a test up on my website. It's called the Archetypes Test. And it's strongly based on Carl Jung's 12 archetypes. 12 archetypes that have, I should say, nothing to do with the personality types in MBTI. By taking that test, you find out your personal archetype, your current state of mind, and your dominant color. Result hero if you're in a good state of mind as you take the test, and you might get the color red if your intuition and your judging function, if your second and fourth letter are your strongest. And I show it pluses and minuses. What letters are strong in you? Pluses mean that you are strong in that letter, that you're in tune with yourself, and minuses mean that you're not in tune with yourself in that function or with that letter. So use the test after the stream ends and to start discovering your archetype and your path. And like Michael says, sixes and might not always be reds. He mentions that there are two sixes, the phobic and the counterphobic sixes, and that they are pretty much going to be opposites in many regards. Like the counterphobic ones are going to go against their fears, where the phobic ones are going to plan to avoid them to make sure it doesn't happen. The Enneagram is a very, very diverse system, and there are so many different interpretations of it. I want to use and to be as true to the Enneagram as possible while I'm developing the archetypes. And what I'm working on is a short article. It's going to be around 50 pages or something, called Enneagram Openings. And I'm going to talk about correlations between the Enneagram and the archetypes that I'm discussing, and how you can use the Enneagram alongside your personality type. So you can say there's an INFJ 9, an INFJ 8, an INFJ 7, an INFJ 6, an INFJ 5. And you can talk about these different INFJs and how that comes across for the INFJ. Started making videos, and I will keep on making more videos where I talk about what happens depending on your Enneagram and your cognitive functions. Now, is there anything we should say as we start running this stream off? Millie C has been typed as ISFJ, but a part of her believes she's an INFP. Now, a lot of people actually mix these types up, and Ps and the blue ISFJs are going to be prone to mistyping as one another. A blue ISFJ will try to be more creative than they feel comfortable with, to see more options and to account for different potential, more so than necessary. An INFP blue type is going to try to be more self-disciplined than they need to be. I see blue INFPs often, like Hermione Granger and like other types, trying so hard to with what their teachers and what everyone wants them to be, and they become so bound by routines. And how to tell them apart? The best way to tell them apart is notice if you are an ISFJ because you are fixated on being an SJ, or because you actually enjoy it. Does sensing give you energy? Does judging give you control? Or does judging take away from your control and make yourself controlled by other people, by systems, and what other people want of you? Be in touch with their intuition and perceiving is going to have a strong heart. They're going to be full of control. They're going to be able to chase their dreams and their ideas and to explore new creative whims. They're going to be able to see new possibilities. And Aiden, yes, I know I have so many series that it's frustrating, but that's also why I don't say anything is a series. I never say I try not to say part 1 or part 2 or part 3, because that is not how my mind works. I have this big system in my head with tons of theories, tons of things all molded together. But I have no ability to nitpick or to keen in on any particular one and to take it one at a time. I have to constantly go through the entire system from all points and angles and perspectives, or I kind of lose my interest and my energy. So what I want to do is I want to keep you considering different angles and different opportunities. Sometimes I will post subtypes videos. Sometimes I will post videos and live streams. Sometimes I will do different things, and it's just how I like to roll. Perhaps I would like someone that put my videos together and organize my channel and stuff. But I think I'm pretty good at organizing things, at least. I do list things, and there are lots of playlists for anyone who wants to explore a particular topic. I could always do it better, though. There are holes. There are holes everywhere, and that's kind of why I need all of you. I want all of you to start writing your own thoughts and make your own videos and to ask your own questions. I want to see all of you doing research independently and exploring things together with me. It would be like I can't possibly explore all of these threads of thoughts alone in this time range. I would need a long time to complete this journey. I'm just getting started. And I will try to collaborate as much as possible with all of you. And I will try to collaborate more. And I think you've seen it with other YouTubers. I did it now with ENFJ Megan Levota, with INFP Geek Psychology, with Densol. And I will try to reach out to all these people to help me explore these topics and to do more together with me. Okay, everyone. So where are we now? I have reached out to Michael Pierce. If anyone wants us to do collaborations, feel free to reach out to him for me as well and to tell him I'm interested in doing things together with him. I love his work so far. He's awesome. Yes, Arian, I work with tri-types. I'm very interested in tri-types, exploring them. The tri-type is so awesome because it shows that we have different strategies depending on if we're anxious, if we're angry, or if we're ashamed. We deal differently with different emotions. Caroline Tchaikovsky also makes such amazing videos. There are so many brilliant YouTubers out there, and I'm starting to get this big vision of putting all of us together, like really creating a community of typologists and psychology interested people, making videos, exploring these topics from a fresh angle, from a neo-Jungian angle, ideally, an angle that talks about type dynamically rather than as stereotypes. People talking about new research in modern psychology rather than old, outdated theories. It's time, I think, to start rounding off. But thank you all for joining up. It's been a pleasure being here with you. I have more videos planned. I'm going to do a collaboration with the Roar Within soon. So he will make a video for us. And yeah, I also have other collaborations planned. So stay tuned and have a good time. Thank you all for joining up. Hope you have a good Friday evening or Friday day or whatever time it is where you are right now. And feel free to hang around and chat for a bit. See you guys. Bye.